What's up, Parker? How's it going? We got, is that a Karen? Iran? How's it going? All right. I'm just getting my stream set up. Give me a second. How's everyone doing today? What y'all working on? All right. You know the drill. Probably gonna vibe code features. What's up, Mountain Dev? MDM Dev? I don't know why I said mountain. It's not mountain. What's up? What's up? Thank you for the follow, Nicolay. All right, so let me look at my to-do list. I think I need to spend some time going through here. Some of the stuff is probably old. That's already been deployed. Feature adding Google AdSense. I need to do that at some point, but still haven't made an account. Fix a bug where after chapter saves, it seems to refocus the bottom of the input. I fixed this one. Show the number of words in the book. I think I fixed that one. Words, 200, 2000. Yeah. Wait, 2178. 2192. Definitely off by a little bit. What's up? What's up? You were maybe thinking of coding Mountain Man. Yeah, I think so. Let me go over here. Go to my user. I want to make this one an admin as well. Sorry, this one. I think. Wait, who am I logged in as? I don't even know. Let me go back over here. I guess I am logged in as. Let me change this. This is what's confusing me. This is my WebDev Cody profile. Do that. Here we go. Come on. All right, so what we're trying to do here is I just want to test out a couple of things. I have like a bunch of things on my to-do list, which I've never actually went back through and updated. Why can't I type? Interesting. What is up? How is it going? Welcome to the stream. And then that should save, that should update the words. We got 11 words. And if I go back to my main chapter switcher, I'm going to delete all these things. I don't need that many chapters. That was weird. Why did it do that? A little bug there. I updated the title, and I didn't see it update in this chapter switcher. So I'm going to put a little bug. After updating the chapter title, it doesn't seem to update / refresh the list of chapters in the chapter navigation component. I have to figure out that one. So we got 4 words in this chapter. If I go back to the first chapter, we got 11 words, so 4 plus 11 is 15. If I go back to the top, we got 15 words here. That's accurate. Okay, so I guess that is working fine. Although I'd ask, should we be including the draft chapters to the word count? I don't think so. And should we also include the number of chapters that are draft? I don't think so. So I might just put that as a bug too. Filter out the chapters, the draft chapters from the chapter count in the book details. Show the number of words in a book. We got that. Move the save notifications. We don't have notifications. I really want to work on notifications on this stream. An admin should be able to click on create next chapter button. Okay, that's there. The colors of the buttons. I think I did somewhat refactoring that. After renaming a chapter, the dropdown doesn't update with the latest. Oh, look at this. I already have this bug. Adding the chapter number in the dropdown. Don't need that. Feature flag with the ability of users to leave comments. I don't think it's important. Add the ability to highlight text and ask AI or UI. Yeah, I'm going to go here and say like features. A user shall be able to open a comment to any paragraph. A user shall be able to comment on any paragraph of the story. Yeah, that one I want now. Display the latest comments in the book homepage. Don't know if I want that. Display the total number of comments in the book homepage. I have that. And admin should be able to upload an image of their book cover. I have that. As a user reads through the chapter, there should be a top bar that shows the progress of the reading. I have that. Send out notifications when the new chapter is published. Socials. I have like sharing on X and sharing the link, but I don't know if it's important right now. An admin shall be able to read and respond to all new comments from a notifications page. That I want. A user shall easily be able to share a book or chapter. Oh, I already read that one. A user shall be able to delete their account. I don't think I have that, and I need to add it. That's actually priority. A user shall be able to view their comments from their dashboard. In admin, do I want? Well, I don't know if I really want that one. Let me go back. I wonder what the intent was for that story. A user shall get a notification when someone responds to their comments. So I'm going to break these up into like categories. So I do need the admin notifications are more important than the user notifications. You guys will comment on a paragraph in the story. Okay, I think this is cleaner. Good to kind of go back and clean up your to-do list. Do you prefer TanStack Start for an admin dashboard project or just React with Vite and TanStack Router? Right now I'm really liking TanStack Start. Like it's my go-to. Because you can build like in a whole admin dashboard with TanStack Start. It just gives you more flexibility. It is in beta, I think, so that's the one thing you have to keep in mind. What's up, TRP Sky? I'm not sure if it's one of your other videos, but what did you use for your rich text editor? I'm using TipTap. Ragged Top Alley. What's your real job? Are you front end, back end, or full stack at the company, or do you just rely on content and apps you made? Yeah, I'll consider myself full stack. And then inside of full stack, I'd also say DevOps is something that you do in full stack. So I touch everything. Like every part of the application I know how to do. What's up, Jay Shady? How do I pass global variables to all files and read them in those files with TanStack Start? How do I pass global variables to all files? I'm not sure what you're asking. I mean, like, you can literally just make a file called, like, config anywhere. So, like, if you wanted to, let me close all this. Go into app and just make a file called config. And then you can say export const my global var equals hello. And then you can import this in any file. Is that what you're asking? Like, this is just normal coding, right? You can just export inside of a file somewhere and then import it inside of any route that you want. So, like, even in the root, I could just, I don't know, maybe I want the description to have that. I could just import it. Sorry, I mean like auth. So I can fetch the user info in the root route, then pass that info to all routes. Oh, okay. Yeah, honestly, the way I would do it is I'd probably still just use a use query. So whatever route that you think you want to check if you have auth, like I would just, let me see. I mean, technically in the root, you could do a loader here. And then you can fetch that information. I don't know if you can pass it to other things. I would probably just say ensure query data like this. And that forces the server-side rendering to fetch that data. And then put it in like the TanStack router, the TanStack query caching system. So then any other component that you want. So for example, let me find out where I'm actually fetching this stuff. I fetch this configuration in a bunch of different places. So like in the footer, you'll see I just do a use query and I try to fetch that. And so because I am ensuring the data exists before the page even renders, when the footer tries to render on that server-side rendering pass-through, that data will be there. Now, if you didn't have this, what would happen would be the page will load, your footer will show with like a spinner. Granted, you'd have to add in the spinner, right? You'd have to say like is loading. But then eventually the client would make a request to the backend to get the configuration, and then you could show that information. But I don't know if that answers your question about auth. There's also a use suspense query that you could do. Like here's another one. In the header, I have a use auth hook that calls a query to get user info. So you'll see if I refresh my page, I think there's a delay when this stuff shows up. See how like it shows sign in and then my avatar pops up? Because I think it is making a request when the client actually loads to my user info. Get user info. I think it's making a request here. Let me refresh. You'll see that it does a front end request to that get user info. Not sure what's making two queries. Kind of redundant. But yeah, so if I didn't want that to happen, if I wanted the page to load with the data, all I would do is in my root, I would make sure that this thing is actually like fetched. So I go over here and I probably say await context query client dot ensure query data. Why is it not auto completing? Here we go. Paste that in there. Okay, fetch this. Now what this will do is now when I load my application, regardless of what route I'm on, you'll see that this data will be there. Like it doesn't do that whole like sign out button. It shows the actual like avatar. Now granted the image is not showing because I have my cache disabled, I don't think it's actually... I think it's because my images are actually stored as like blobs in my SQL database. So I don't have like caching set up there. But does that kind of answer your question? That's kind of how I would do it. If it's something you want to exist when the page first renders, like whether it's search engine optimization needs or you just want a better user experience, you can do ensure query data there inside your root loader, especially for like headers and footers and like other things. I'm guessing there's a way, like whatever you pass in the root loader, I'm guessing there's a way to get that. I don't know. I haven't checked. I'm still learning TanStack Start. I will say it's kind of confusing in some aspects. There's like a lot of different ways you can fetch data. And I'm not sure if I truly grasp the nuance of when you should use one over the other, but I have found that when you just use query, it makes refactoring a lot easier and making your components a lot easier. Because now like there's no suspense boundaries. I don't have to worry about like wrapping this whole thing wherever I'm using it in some type of suspense boundary. I just find that a very bad user experience, or developer experience, I mean. But yeah, I want to make sure that you understand that adding this does slow down the render though. So like if I were to go here and just say like, wait 2 seconds, and then I should do like a promise all, okay. I think this will slow down the entire page load by 2 seconds. Let's see. Yeah, the whole thing gets kind of like blocked. So it's kind of like you have to pick and choose when you decide you want to block the entire page. Is it worth blocking your users from seeing the page because you don't know if they're logged in or not? I don't know. I think this is a better user experience. I'm not sure why it's taking so... Oh, because I have a... Yeah. So notice how like everything shows really fast, but in the top right where my head's hiding, so this is not even a good demo. Here we go. I'm so sorry. I didn't know my head was hiding that. Now on the top right, man, that sucks. Let me redo that whole thing. The whole discussion I did in the header. I'm making sure I fetch the user data right here. So I have like this use auth function call, right? Now when I refresh, notice that the whole page blocks for 2 seconds, and then it shows the data. If I click on the next chapter, the data is already cached, but like again, if I were to hard refresh, it blocks for 2 seconds, and then it shows the page. That's a terrible user experience in my opinion. So instead, I'd say add a loader here, a spinner here. And the way you can achieve that is don't call ensure query data here on your root loader. Okay, so now when I refresh, notice that the whole thing loads pretty quickly. It should have. What's going on here? Wait, let me refresh. I think there's something wrong with that page. Why does this page take so long to load? Okay, so on this page, refresh, notice that it instantly shows like the data, but then this slowly comes in when it gets the user information. The sign in button goes away after 2 seconds, and then it shows my profile. Is that the best user experience? I think it's better than blocking the whole thing. I mean, we could probably make it a little bit better by showing a loader. So for example, I'm sure there's some type of ternary going on here. So if the user is defined, show the avatar dropdown. If it's not defined, show this. I'll check the comments in a second, sorry. I'm also gonna say like, add a loader if the user info is still loading with a placeholder skeleton circle. Let me find user info. You know what? I'm actually just going to do this. This would be much better. I want that spinner. Okay, so now it shows like a little skeleton spinner and then it shows up. If I sign out. So I don't know. It just depends on what you need, I guess. Would you use TanStack for a production app? I guess it depends on what you mean by production. Like how many users, how mission critical is the app for your business? If it's a side project, yeah, I would. I think it's fine. And they told me that Tanner mentioned that they should hope this will get out of beta like during the summer of this year, hopefully, but not sure. Making 2 requests because probably strict mode is on. Okay, yeah, good point. Would you say TanStack is better than Next.js? I like TanStack much better than Next.js. I just find the developer experience of Next.js a little bit, what's the word? Confusing compared to Next.js. Like, I think the transition from a Vite single page application to TanStack Start is like trivial, and you can slowly like opt in and upgrade to like these different server-side rendering transitions. With Next.js, like the whole like having to put use client at the top, use server, the fact that the server actions aren't concurrent, like you can't have concurrent server actions running, the fact that in the Next.js server action you have to call like a revalidate path to clear out the cache. It's just a bunch of weird stuff, and I just think that it's better to have the caching layer live in something like TanStack Query on the front end. There might be some little features here and there that Next provides that TanStack Start doesn't have, but I just think it's much easier to write code and understand code with TanStack Start. I mean, yeah, TanStack Start. Do you think it has helped you keeping TS on the backend as well, like Go, but it's a lot of context switching? Yeah, I mean, that's typically why I like using these full stack type of frameworks, is that like I can just stick to a single language, which means that, you know, not only do I not have to context switch and think so hard about different languages and runtimes, but also the AI. When I ask questions, the AI, like, it just, every example's in TypeScript, so it like doesn't have to like get confused and stuff. Cody, have you thought about using query options so that you don't need to type the same thing in both loader and component? Yeah, I've been needing to refactor my code base to do that. I know what you're talking about though. Oops, I didn't mean to click your name. It's just a matter of like, where do I put them? You know, like, do I just have like a giant file? So for example, like this stuff, this whole, oh, let me get off of Steam. Hold on a second. Probably shouldn't be on Steam right now. There we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it, I don't know. Queries. Query options. How about that? We're gonna make this super simple. Export const user info option. Something like this. That's what you're saying? The only issue I'd have with putting in a giant file is I'm hoping the tree shaking would work pretty well. Because now, like, I could do this. And then anywhere else in my code base where I'm doing that, I could import from here. Like here, I could just import. Here, I could import. And that'll keep the code a little bit cleaner. And I could probably do the same approach for like literally every single time I call either ensure query data, use query, use suspense query, so I don't have like stuff copied and pasted everywhere. Probably a better idea. Just a matter of like, where do people typically put these things? Do they have a giant file with everything in here? Is that going to cause issues with like tree shaking in the future? I don't know. I prefer fetching with prefetch query without awaiting, plus use suspense currently. I haven't tried that out yet. I guess I'd be interested in getting some more information about that approach. Do you call prefetch query in your loader, and then you call use suspense like in your actual component? This is the one thing I don't like about TanStack Start. There's too many different ways to do like the same thing, and I don't know what's better than, like, which approach is best. What's the recommended approach? And obviously the answer is it depends on what you're trying to achieve for your application. But like, should I be using use suspense query so that I can actually get the streaming to work? But when you do that, like, it makes refactoring your components so much harder, because like moving stuff around, you have like your loaders are typically in the suspense boundary with the fallback. I don't know. I guess as long as the app seems like it's good. Have I read Pragmatic Programmer? I have not. Am I still using Convex? Yeah, I use it on different side projects. I'm going to make a video about like my stack of 2025. Maybe talk about that, because like sometimes I opt in to just use Postgres with TanStack Start. Other times I use Convex for my backend and my database. And then I just use like TanStack Start for like a simple like a shell to kind of show the data. And I would say I typically opt for Convex when the app I'm building is a lot more like complex, and there's a bunch of asynchronous things that need to run. There's cron jobs that need to run. There's live data updates. There's AI calls where like you make a call to AI and it takes like 2 or 3 seconds to get a response back. Like that's when I would say like I would just default to using Convex, because achieving the same functionality with TanStack Start in Postgres, kind of a pain. Can you go through the basic architecture of your app? I'm new to programming. Yeah, maybe. Are you new to TanStack Start? Because yo, do I keep getting disconnected in the stream? Like, am I freezing? Because my OBS keeps saying disconnected. I'm curious if my internet's just like dropping off randomly. Anyway, I typically separate my query options by feature. Okay, is this project an extension of that video you did on with your wife? Pretty much. Like, I was trying to build this app with Chef in that video. Why is it lagging? I don't know. Maybe I just have bad internet connection right now. We're planning on developing an internal back office app at work. Small user base of 50 to 100 employees was considering. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see an issue with that. Some internal application that's not getting like thousands of requests per second. I think it's fine. I haven't noticed any issues with the application I'm currently running. Like, this is all in TanStack Start, and it's been running fine. I just have it running on Railway. Absolutely no issues. It hasn't crashed at all. I don't see any errors getting thrown. Granted, I don't know if people are using this. People have bought my little 20 beginner React challenges course. I don't know if they're actually going through and watching this stuff, but I mean, it's worked pretty good. This is all TanStack Start. Pretty impressed. So yeah, I mean, I think using it for an internal app would be fine. Honestly, using it for a production app, I think it'd be fine. I would just say, like, I guess it depends on how big the application is. I'd probably like wait before they're production ready. They're trying to get rid of the Vinci server, I believe. Like, when the Vinci refactoring is done with TanStack Start, I would be more confident in using it. But is that how I want this to work though? I added that whole page, takes a while to load. Yeah, let me go back and remove that. I think that was from the header. In the header, we have this, calls this. Let me get rid of that. Now it should be a lot faster. Let me change this profile picture too. This is the profile picture I use on Steam. I don't know why I have that. Someone made it for me a very long time ago. I'm talking like 10 years ago. And that is what I used for my gaming profile picture. Am I working on any SaaS right now? I mean, the Site Sensei project, I'm going to pick that up after I finish kind of adding a lot more features to this. I want to get this app to a state where like my wife can start publishing her book here and like have people come over to this and start reading her stuff and leave comments and interact with it. And then when I feel like this is good, I'm going to go back to the Site Sensei project, which kind of put on hold for a little bit, but we'll pick it back up. Solving one, either my problem or solving someone for an idea who's like, he's the, I can't think right now. I think he's the CEO of a company. I asked him for an idea. He gave me one. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to build it. So, but my other stuff, like I just kind of build stuff. I'm bored. This project, that's not really specific to TanStack Start. Prefetch use Suspense starts the query on the server, but allows the site to load without waiting for those requests to resolve. Yeah, so to the user, then I would probably say use ensure query data, right? If you want the data to be streamed over, then I'm guessing you'd use the prefetch with the use suspense. Although I'm not really sure how to use the use suspense. Let me go to this TanStack docs real quick. Oh, what is this? Oh, are you talking about use suspense query? Drew D dude. Then suspense wrapper inside components index TSX and use suspense components. Do you guys actually like the suspense stuff? Like I just find the developer experience, it sucks. Like, yeah, sure, you might stream over data a little bit faster. So like what, you're going to shave off like 50 milliseconds, 100 milliseconds maybe. But like the way, I don't know. I need to try it more maybe. RDK, and Drew D Dude. Let me just make sure I understand what you guys are asking. So you're saying I could instead, pay attention. I need you guys. I need your help. I need your help. So if I instead did like dot prefetch query, and then I called the configuration query here, I don't need to await on it. Like, does it even matter? Does this return a promise? It does return a promise. Like, do you await on it? That doesn't even give you configuration. Okay, this might be a bad. Let me undo this. I'm gonna do a different one. Let me try this. Instead, we're gonna do get user info option. Okay, so you call this, that should prefetch the data. So on the server, it's like fetching, but then it streams it over, right? But you're not waiting, you're not blocking the UI. So now my header, where I call this, I could say use suspense query, and that should be defined, maybe. User is potentially undefined. How does that change? Then stream it down to the query cache when it's done. Yes, but you need suspense, then not query. So am I doing this right? Like this is how you guys recommend you do it. You say prefetch query, you don't await on it, but then wherever you need that data, you just say use suspense query. Let me also, I'm going to try, if I go here and then go here, go here. See, it's like, you can tell it's blocking for 2 seconds though. So this isn't doing what, I think I still need to wrap the thing in a suspense boundary, don't I? So this is where the code gets annoying because it's like, I have to go and find where the header is actually being used, which would be here. And then I have to wrap this in a suspense boundary. And then I have to put my loader outside of the component itself, which again, I find a very bad developer experience. Why is this not importing? Okay. So now it's blocking the entire header. So that's not good. That's not what I want. So instead of putting it there, what I actually want to do is this thing, wherever it's being used, I need to go and like pull that out. It's being used 2 places. It's being used in the sign out button, and it's being used in this avatar area. So then I have to like pull this stuff out. Wait, no, not that. This. I'll just call this the. Wait, can I just like wrap this whole thing in suspense? No, I can't. Wait, can I? I thought this thing has to be like a component, but. Will that work? No, this is not working either. So again, I have to make sure that the thing I'm doing, the suspense, like the query in, this needs to be pulled out. Like I said, like function user avatar, and then I call it there. And then I have to basically take this whole thing out and then return it here. But then I have to go down here and like put it in that. This whole thing I'll just comment out for right now. Okay, so all that, like, just so I can shave off, what, 50 milliseconds or like 100 milliseconds because the data is streamed down instead of like it making the request to get the data. I don't know. That's just, maybe I'm not doing it right, but that just feels like so much additional annoyance in refactoring that's like forced upon you just to achieve something super basic that a use query already does with the isLoading boolean. Right? Like technically this doesn't even need to be here. because it's going to be loading the suspense boundary, right? So I can get rid of that. Let me do this. Data should be defined, so I don't need to put that. Like, is that how you guys do it? Is that how you recommend doing it? What's up, DUX? Yeah, I know. I don't know. I'll have to like keep playing around with it to see if I like it. It's just, to me, it feels like more a complexity, and it makes refactoring a little bit harder because like now, like to move this stuff around, it kind of really forces you to have really small, what's the word? Like concise components. Maybe that's a good thing, like having small components. But now it's like this whole section down here, I have to go and make yet another component because this thing also needs a suspense boundary with the sign out and the sign in button. So then I have to go and like add a sign out, I don't know, a sign in, sign out button. Or would I? This is the mobile menu, so maybe... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll try it and get used to it. But like that's the same thing you had to do in like Next.js in a sense, and it's like I just find it more annoying. Like sure, maybe my app doesn't have the best user experience and people's stuff doesn't load in 50 milliseconds because the streaming is not happening. But they won't care. They won't even notice, right? So let's go back to the way I kind of like, and then go back to the root. Get rid of that suspense stuff. Not too bad. Whatever. Go here, get rid of that timeout. Okay. What's up, Crash Key? Crasher Key? Welcome. Tell Tanner to create bulletproof TanStack Start showcasing good patterns. Yeah, the docs are pretty like all over the place, I'll be honest. Like I don't know what the best way to do stuff is. I just do the thing that I have that I feels better. You can still use prefetch plus use query and it'll still be streamed from what I know. The difference is the suspense loading against component loader. Is that true? Because that, I would probably pick that over what we just did with the whole suspense boundary. So like a context, query, prefetch. Let's see if this actually is true. If I go back over here, the thing is like, how do I test this locally, right? Get out of here. I just need to stop deleting that line. Okay, so the only way to test that this is actually working the way you say it is I would have to like do throttling on the browser and make it like super slow. Because what the prefetching is doing is it's sending the data over after the UI runs and the JavaScript is enabled, right? Wait, hold on, I say that right. So if you use the prefetch data, it should be sending it over even before the page is loaded and the JavaScript is ran. Like that data should eventually be streamed over and then put into the React query cache. Without prefetch data, you have to wait for the entire page to mount and then React to run, and then it makes your request, fetches the data. And so I'm guessing, like, how would you verify if this is doing what you think it is? Like, you would have to either throttle the thing or just like throttle the performance. Honestly, I don't even know how I check that. Is it still fetching? What's going on? Get user info. Okay, so that came over. But notice that it's not doing the request on the front end. And if I comment this out, I'm assuming that it will do the request eventually, because the front end is going to try to fetch the data from the back end so that it can show that. Why is it not? Hold on. No network activity recorded. Oh, did I not record that? Sometimes it's fun just to tinker around with the code so that you can actually make sure you understand how it works. Yeah, it takes up a lot of your time, but it's fun. So I'm going to refresh. Notice that the page kind of starts showing things. And then when the client mounts the React, I believe, that's when you use query will fire. It tries to get the data. And then you can't see it because my head's hiding it. It shows up. So let me do this because you guys can't even watch what I'm doing. I refresh, the page shows. At some point, JavaScript is going to run. Query is going to make the request. The backend then sends back the data and it shows up. The difference, if I were to do this, I wonder if the front end would even make the request. So then this data should be streamed in, right? And I'm wondering if the front end never even makes the request for the get user info. I don't know. This literally feels the same. Like how would I check to see what load performance was gained by doing this if I'm doing it correctly? Let's see. How do I delete people? Oh, here. I don't know how I turned off network recording. That was an accident. Have you ever tried using purpose-built policy-based authorization? What the heck is that? No, I don't even know what you're talking about here, so I'm going to say no, I haven't. 9 seconds seems like a long time for 4G. Yeah, I don't know. I've noticed that the app takes a very long time to load. I don't know if it's because there's dev tools that are trying to run as well. I will say in TanStack Start, like if I don't do this query, like look how much data is loaded. There's like 100 requests for different things. I haven't looked into it. That feels kind of concerning. I don't know if it's chunking things up to make it performant, and when you're in like production mode, it doesn't have to load 113 things. Like, why is it loading? I don't know. I think it's just trying to do code splitting, and it's like loading everything individually, which I don't know. That's only in dev. Things are bundled during prod builds. Okay, that's good to know. What's your current go-to stack if you're going to build a general purpose production ready app? You know, you can't pick your stack until you know like the amount of requests per second you're going to have, your current company, how much expertise do they have in React versus Vue versus whatever else. Is your current company a Java backend type of company? Is it a Go backend type of company? Like picking a stack has so much more than just like what tech do you like, right? It has a lot to do with the business. Maybe Laravel is your best option, you know? Maybe Django is your best option. If you add a delay after the prefetch in the loader, it would probably count. Like if it prefetches, would it be faster because it loads, because it starts to load the data before that delay? Yeah, I think, let me try that. I'm going to turn off this like throttling because I think it's making us already turned off. Okay. So you were saying if I wait here for 2 seconds instead. Okay, so we'll do the prefetch, but then we'll wait. I mean, the whole page was still block, right? Whole page blocks, but then it still made a request to get the data again before it shows it. So I don't think this is working the way we think it does. Because you would think that data would like be ready, but now it takes another 2 seconds to get the data. Do I need to wait on this maybe? That felt like it loaded faster though. Hold on, let's try this. I wonder if you're supposed to wait on this stuff. All right. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. So that took like 4 seconds. And then if you go wait on it, one, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. This is my main complaint with TanStack Start is like, this stuff is not very intuitive. There's too many ways to fetch data. I don't know when I need to put a wait on stuff and when I don't. People tell me one thing and I go read through the docs and they don't explain like, yes, you need to await on this stuff. I was running the hydration errors before because I was forgetting to put in a wait on ensure query data. And so then I added it and then all my hydration errors went away. I don't know when things are not streamed over. People say that you can stream stuff over by prefetch query, but then like I don't know how I even test that myself. So that's why I'm like, I just don't care, honestly. Like, let's just make the code as simple as possible, not worry about all this stuff. And my users won't care either. Like, okay, they see a little circle for like a split second. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, that was fun to go down, I guess. Haven't implemented anything yet. Save notifications. I think I want to add notifications. I asked someone on my Discord to do this, but I think he just doesn't have the time to contribute. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it real quick. And the way I'm going to do it is by using AI. Please add a notification table to my adds a comment. A notification record is created so that an admin user can view them. Then update the, let me make a new page. One thing I like to do is I like to make the route first. So I have like an admin page here. And then in the admin page, why not? I'm going to make one called notifications.tsx. And I like to click and drag this, update the notifications route to show all these notifications. We need to track who the notification was created by, what their comment was, if it was a comment type notification, and what time. What else do I need for notifications? Oh, what book what book and chapter the notification was for. Let's just see if this will one-shot it. Sorry about my stream disconnecting every so often. I don't know why it's... I've never seen that happen before. Weird. I think with await prefetch, request is completing and then it doesn't need to refetch the data. Without prefetch, there are 2 requests. Okay, that's a good idea. That's a good thing. Extracting authorization into its own service with its own logic and data. I struggle hard with scope creep and walking away from the tasks that aren't finished. How do you usually prevent that from happening? That's what Ricky DeFazio asks. I mean, is this for a side project or at work? Because when someone asks for a task, like if your manager or your project manager or your product owner asks for a task, like you shouldn't be walking away from that task, right? You should finish the story and get it shipped out to production so your users can use it. If you're talking about for a side project, I would just say break up your tasks into small little things and just like knock them out. Like every task that you add here in your to-do list should be like simple enough to implement in like an hour or 2 and then get it shipped to production. So like scope creep shouldn't really affect these things. Like a user should be able to delete their account. I don't know how scope creep would affect that, you know? Like that's a very, very, I know when it's done. There should be a button, I click it, it deletes their account, and then their data is all wiped from the database. Let's see if this thing can get this done. It looks like it's done generating all this code. Let's check out the files. The schema. We got a notifications table. Tracks the user ID of who created the notification, the comment ID, the book ID, the chapter ID, and if I read it or not. All seems good. What is this? Notification rate. Okay, so now this is how we're relating that notification to other things. So let's just accept this one. Looks fine. This is the page to hopefully fetch the notifications. Things I like to double check is there middleware attached? It looks like there is. We are making sure that the only person who can fetch these notifications is the admin. Okay. The rest, like if it doesn't work, okay, fine. If it's not that performant, fine. The most important thing is it secure? Check that first. I could ship a half performant query to production. Security is important. Mark as read, again, need to be an admin. We have a route here. It does a load or get notifications function. Is this right? Crack my neck. I don't like how it did the loader a little bit different than I would in all my other pages, but let's just accept all. And then, of course, we are going to run our migration. So generate our migration, and we're going to migrate it. No errors. That's a good sign. So now I go back to my app, and then we're going to comment on a book. Now I am the admin, so like it doesn't really make sense, but I'm going to say comment. And I'll create this. Failed to post your comment, please try again. So now we debug what's going on. Cannot read property of undefined reference table. So that makes me think that I need to restart my server. Sometimes when you update your Prisma schema stuff, like it just doesn't correctly track it. Let's give it a second to actually load up. All right, let's try this. So does the page load? Does the app load? It does. Comment, run it. It is failing, but I do notice that it does save the comment. So like what I'm doing right now with the debugging process is I'm trying to gather as much information as I can. It leaves the comment in the database. That's good. It looks like it's just failing to create the notification. And so we can kind of dive down into where. Is it even throwing an error? Let me do this real quick. I'm just going to do it one more time. Okay, so here's our giant error. Cannot read property of undefined. Okay, so I'm going to be lazy and just paste this in. See if AI can fix it. After relations. Do I already have one? Curious if that's actually what's failing. Okay, that fixed it. So I think what's happening is like somewhere in the code, probably in the query, in the server function where it's trying to like fetch back the notifications. Actually, let me go to the comments where I'm creating it. So I think I added this one. So when I create a comment, I find users minywhere. Let me just double check this logic too. What is this doing? Create notification for admin users. Okay. Yeah, I think this isn't exactly what I was looking for. I think this is actually assuming I have multiple admin users, which is probably fine. I think this thinks that the user ID is the admin user. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to revert my my database change. I'm going to say, I think you are confused. All admins should share the same notifications. Instead, I want to track which user created that notification when they left a comment. Okay, so this is a symptom of me not prompting correctly. I didn't give it enough context. Same idea, like if a product owner were to ask you to implement a feature, if they don't give you the right context and enough acceptance criteria, you as a developer can code it wrong. So I'm just going to go ahead and let it retweak it. And while it's cooking, I guess I'll come back. Hey, thanks, Ricky. Thank you for the super chat. Got to run, but appreciate the feedback. Yeah, no problem. I am Speedy Alex. Nice theme. Yeah, it's called a bearded theme stained blue. So let's see. Sorry, Cody, for misleading you. I searched in the TanStack Discord. It seems that the prefetch query works only in combination with use suspense. Okay, that's good information. Yeah, but I mean, it just kind of proves my point. Like, that's the one thing about TanStack Start I find super confusing. There's like, what is the right way to do the data fetching? They need a page on the docs that says like, here are all the different ways you can do the data fetching. Here are the pros and the cons of them. Maybe they have that in the docs. I just haven't seen it. It's just kind of, and I say they, I mean, it's open source. So someone actually needs to like man up and do it. even me, I could go and try to make like a page in the documentation to explain it, but I don't know how it works well enough to make the docs for it. So someone who really understands TanStack Start with React Query and the prefetching and all the use suspense query and the suspense boundary, like someone just needs to write a good page in the docs to explain it and then have Tanner like read over it and see if it's correct, because I don't know how this stuff works. Await is always blocking. I mean, it depends. Like you can await a promise, but inside of that promise, it could be firing off some type of another promise that's never being awaited, you know? Or it has like a .then attached to it to update some internal cache system and then fire off a notification. So like just because you await on a function doesn't necessarily mean it's going to block whatever's happening inside that function. It really depends on how the function is written. Do you use suspense query or default? I like just using use query. Maybe at one point I'll switch over to use suspense query. I tried it out a little bit. I just found the developer experience just wasn't as good. It reminded me more of Next.js, and I just didn't like it. Did you have errors with code not getting splitted? Server code leaking to client on build? I haven't looked into that. RDK, is that something that you have noticed? Are you seeing server code get leaked over? Because that would also be kind of concerning. Did you Prisma push? I did. I ran in my migrations. And you don't need to await prefetch. It's enough to just call it, but you do need use suspense. Okay, how do you do verification in the routes? Do you use before load? Yeah, if you want to like verify a user's logged in, I would probably just say like use the before load. Check your auth. Redirect if they're not authenticated. But sometimes I just honestly in the page itself, like if you're not authenticated, I show a generic component with a button that says like, hey, you don't have access to this route. Click here to go to the dashboard or something. Because like when you just like redirect a user back from a page they were trying to go to, it's confusing. Like I just clicked on this link and now I'm like redirected to some random page. I rather keep them on the URL they were trying to go to and then show them a message saying, hey, you actually shouldn't be accessing this. Are you sure you're logged in? Especially if you have bookmarks. Like let's say I wanted to bookmark the admin page and then on another computer I try to load it because, you know, bookmarks are shared across your Chrome instances. But then it like just redirects me back to the home page. As a user, I'm like confused because I'm like, why does it keep sending me back to the home page? So instead of using like a before route or before load, whatever it's called, I would just like show a screen that says like, hey, click here to log in. I don't know. Hey, did you make any video on Railway? I've heard you recommend it. I think I have a couple of videos on it. I don't know if there's really a video to make on it. I mean, it's literally you make an account and you go and you connect it to your repo and it just automatically starts building your stuff. As long as you have like the correct Docker file in place, like it'll just build your application. And even if you don't have a Docker file, I think it uses what's that build tool? I don't know. They have like their own build tool that basically analyzes your code and then like builds your project based on what they think your code is. I think they don't have it yet. They said they are awaiting for the official release. Okay. Your agent is on auto. You should specify. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Iago. Thank you so much. Oh, I can like these. Let me like these. Man, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad my content has been useful enough. General question. Are you satisfied with the way? Are you satisfied with the way where React is going? I don't know, like where's it going? You talking about with like the server components? I think it's good to have options. I think what they're adding is just more options. Now, if React were to say like, hey, you should be using server components for everything, that's where I'd push back and be like, no, I don't think that's a good idea, because I've noticed that when I'm making my next JS applications, like trying to navigate around, stuff just felt sluggish. Like it just felt like I was writing an application using Django, where like every page has to like do a full render pass to get the data to it. Like everything I click, it's like literally instantaneous. Like the navigation it just goes fast. Now I don't know, maybe this is because I don't know. I don't know. Is that server components causing that slowdown? Is it Next.js causing that slowdown? Is it because use query is all client first, which means that like when I hover over links, it feels more like a native application? Hey, thanks for the follow. You're like reflected before you did it in a stream. I don't know what that means. You were like reflected before you did it in a stream. Under redirect in the router docs, it says you can add search redirect to the redirect and send you user back to where they came from. What's up, Donnie? Long time no see. And the server-side rendering makes it more complicated for entry coders. Oh, one thing I do not like. Okay, so I have a Next.js application at work that I try to work on sometimes. It's like a little side project that we do at work. Like an internal tool that like we just have people kind of work on when we get time. Looking through that code and like doing the form with the server action and then having like the use form state, and then that has like an is loading boolean that's sent back to know when you're submitting the form. That whole shenanigans is just annoying. Like to do all that extra stuff with like the forms so that it is, what's the word where you can like submit? You know, maybe it's a restream that's causing my stuff to break up. Maybe Restream's having issues. I have no viewers on Twitch right now. You guys remember that term where like, bro, how am I forgetting this term? Like, you know, when your application like still works even though JavaScript is like not fully finished loading yet? How's content creation going? You know, kind of feels like a second job at this point. The joy of creating content isn't really there where it used to be. But I try to keep doing it, you know? Keep trying to make content so I can teach you guys stuff I know the best of my abilities. Let's see if this actually works now. Of course, I think it's because I already ran a migration with notifications, so I think I need to like delete this. And then I forget, how do you actually check? Is there a way to view constraints here? Yeah, so I think now, let's try this out. I want to try to leave a comment. It worked. Go to notifications. I see a notification created by user 1, comment ID 15, books ID 7, chapter 2. Is it red? No. Go to my admin dashboard. Actually, let's go to admin/notifications. Here we go. Cody commented on the book Moby Dick chapter of looming test less than a minute ago. And then I want to be able to click it. Add the ability to click on the comment in the notifications page, which should take me to that chapter and auto scroll me to the notifications or comments using a hashtag. Don't know if this will work, but okay. By the way, are you guys using like AI all the time when you code? I literally feel like I'm a vibe coder now. Like I'm just a vibe coder. Look at that. Comment ID of 15. I wonder if I left a nested comment here, if this would actually take me to the bottom. I don't think that truly worked the way I thought it would. Comment ID of 16. It should have scrolled me down to the comment. It's really having some struggles with the type errors here. What is it doing? Oh, I think the issue is that the comment doesn't even exist. Let me check where comment ID is being used. All right, let me be a good developer and actually read through the changes to make sure. Takes me to the book ID, the chapter ID, search comment ID. Looks pretty good. This. Validate search comment ID. Where is this being used? Here. This seems wrong. Add effect to scroll to the comment when the comment ID is present. Comment ref. Render thread. Oh man, look at all this crazy code that was generated by AI. I'm gonna put in the comment itself. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna say, instead, can you wait for the ID to show up and then scroll to that comment because the comments might be behind a loading skeleton when the page first loads. Would you say AI also ruins the fun a little bit or nah, teaching wise? In terms of teaching, absolutely. I don't feel like I'm actually teaching. In terms of actually being productive and shipping stuff, like, I love it. I'm still trying to find the balance. Like, obviously making content of me vibe coding probably won't get that much respect and views. But at the same time, it's undeniable how productive using these type of tooling like can make you. And so I think teaching how to better interact with cursor, how to become a better vibe coder, how to actually like read through the code that AI is generating, maybe there's a market for that. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of good experienced developers who hate on AI, and I think it actually might be some form of cope, or they just haven't used it enough to really understand how to like prompt and stuff. Because like, look at this. If I go ahead and like, change this to 10, automatically scrolls me to the comment because it did it in 5 seconds. Like it literally did it in like 5. It did it in 2 prompts, 3 prompts maybe. I just had to tweak a little bit. But I don't know, it's crazy. I'm gonna go over here. Like I don't care if people respect me or disrespect me because I'm using AI. I just know that it makes me efficient, much more than I was before. I was already pretty good at coding and typing, but now it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and say adding the ability to view a notification from a notifications page. Like I have to do some, I want to have like an admin panel page that has like a left panel and the main content. And these could actually just live on the admin dashboard, but these are pretty good for right now. If I mark it as red, what happens? Is that even working? After I mark a comment, a notification as red, please move it to a separate panel that is behind a toggle switch. I don't know. Let's see what it does to that. Any tips you can give to me? I'm tasked to build a new company app, and my senior wants me to build it specifically around Next.js. We are a super small team, and I might expect a little help. I am thinking of using Tailwind, Auth.js, Zod, and maybe TanStack Query as state manager. I'm expecting a lot of data fetching and forms for this app. Yeah, my stream is completely messed up. I don't know why it keeps on freezing all the time. So I apologize. I don't know if it's because I'm using Restream and their service is having issues, or like there's something wrong with my computer. Yeah, I would just go to YouTube. I don't know what's going on with Twitch, honestly. Yeah, as far as like getting feedback for your comment, the way I like using forums, so yeah, the way I like doing forums, assuming you don't care if JavaScript is like, oh, just disconnected once more. Stream is messed up, man. Yeah, I don't know. I just use form hook for all my forms. I use Zod for validating on the client. I use Zod for my backend. For Next.js, if you use server actions, I would recommend that you have like ZSA or some type of like server action validation library so you can verify the stuff that's going into your server action is validated. Auth.js I would not touch. Try better auth. Auth.js is just garbage. It used to be called NextAuth, and they switched it to Auth.js. It's been in beta for over a year. I think that project's abandoned. I would use better auth first and just see how it is. I'm expecting a lot of data fetching in forms. Yeah, I don't know. Just you know, try to build it. If it doesn't work, refactor it, you know? Let me read my YouTube comments real quick. Can you describe the perfect framework for you? I don't think there is a perfect framework. They all have their pros and cons, honestly. Thank you for your videos. Yeah, no problem. I could give you more feedback. Crasher key. I just need more information about like what is the app? Like what are you building? But I would say that whatever you're building, like Next.js, probably work fine. Try using stuff with server actions and their like form submission approach. If that doesn't work, use form hook with Zod and use query and stuff. You should try context 7 MCP for cursor. 2-hour stream. Yeah, I mean like for the content creation in YouTube, in coding specifically, the views decreased massively in comparison to 2 years ago, probably because of AI. What do you think? I mean, I've definitely noticed a giant shift in like the viewership on YouTube. Like the learning the code videos, I just don't know if they're very important anymore because sometimes people would go and watch coding tutorials on YouTube to like learn how to do a certain thing. Like, oh, I don't know how to add nested threaded comments to a blog. So I'm going to go ahead and watch this video and they can walk me through how to do it. But now I'm guessing people just prompt AI to do it for them. So like, what's the point of watching a tutorial video? I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion on it. And maybe it's not actually true. But I do think when AI came out, and also like the issue is in 2020, everyone was trying to learn to code because they were just hiring everybody. Like they would hire anybody who would even know how to write a for loop. You might not even know how to code, but if you can write like a for loop and read some code, they'd hire you. And then in 2023, 2024, they probably fired those same people they hired because they realized they didn't just need like seats at their company. Like they needed people who actually knew what they're doing. And so I think that's what we're seeing now in the industry. And then AI came out and started getting better around that same time as well. So it's kind of just like an unfortunate timing of like COVID made everyone work from home, which made like interest rates low, which made a bunch of companies get a bunch of investment money. They hired a bunch of people. They went away, but then they didn't have all that investment money with no interest rates. So they fired everybody. But then AI came out, which made it super easy to build out applications without even knowing what you're doing. So it's like, I don't know. It's crazy, man. I will say that sometimes I ask people to contribute to my projects, like beginners, juniors, maybe they're mid, I don't know. And I'll give them a simple task. And a week later, they still haven't even done the task. Granted, it's not their project, so they're not really motivated to do it. But when it takes them that long to even like add in a feature, and I come in and I prompt cursor, and within 3 prompts, I have the whole feature added for me, you're just not valuable. You know, like if it takes you that long to add a simple feature and I can do it in a less amount of time, there's no way you're going to get hired. And so this is why I kind of use cursor in all my videos, just to kind of show you like you should probably be learning how to code with these AI assistant tooling, because when you can crank out 5 or 10 features and someone else on your team can only do 1 feature a week, who is going to get fired? That's just reality, you know? Only if I ask to make something very small. Only if I ask them to make something very small and verify otherwise, it'll end up spending more time debugging the AI code. See, I haven't seen this. Like, maybe I'm just good at debugging, but like literally, like this whole entire application was vibe coded. Everything you see in this application was vibe coded. And then I come through and I tweak it a little bit. Or if there's like a little bug and cursor can't figure out the error, which most times it does, I would have to dive into the code and try to figure out. Like this whole comment section with like the Reddit style comments, literally this is 1 prompt vibe coded. It created the drizzle schema. It made the recursive table that referred to itself. It added in the nested comments for me automatically. Added in the liking for other comments. That was vibe coded. Deleting comments, that was vibe coded. As you saw in this video, seeing notifications, just vibe coded it. How much code that I actually have to like deal with? Not too much. Granted, there are some little bugs along the way. Like for example, when I press mark as read, the page doesn't update. So we could fix that. When I press mark as read, the page doesn't seem to automatically filter out the red messages. Can you make sure you call a query refresh? Refactor away from using the loader if necessary. And then I can just let this cook. And this is literally what I do. Like, let's say I'm cooking dinner. I have my laptop next to me. I'll go and I'll vibe code a feature. I'll come back and it just works. So I don't know. I'm like, is this hooked up to a database right now? It is. Yeah. The more you know, the better your prompts will be. That is true. You can do a much better prompting when you have the lingo. I'm working on now for connecting people locally, coding, orchestrating, prompting. Yeah, it seems like a website. Web dev Cody. Wonder how long that's been crashed for. Why did it crash? Again, this is in Next.js, right? So why did it crash? Who knows? Yeah, there's literally no logs here. Like, where are all my logs? Wait, is this in Next.js? I don't remember if this is in Next.js. This deployment was initiated by Railway, your service load automatic operator. Why is this crashing? That's so weird. Unexpected status code while fetching migration jobs? I don't even have a database in this. DB migrated exit with code 1. This is wild. My starter kit doesn't even have a database. What is it trying to do? libsql client libesm migrations. Error script db migrate exit with code 1. Yeah, I'll have to fix that later. I don't know. Thanks for pointing that out, though. I'll go and I'll look into that in a little bit. Will we forget how to hand code syntax? Maybe. I don't know. How soon do you think elementary/middle schools will have a required working with AI class like they do in typing classes? Depends on where you live. If you live in a country that actually values education, which probably isn't the United States, they should probably be doing AI classes in early education. I think learning how to use ChatGPT, like there's literally people walking around on Earth today who have probably never even heard about ChatGPT or even interacted with it. And nor do they even care that I can answer your questions, right? But for us, like we're in the tech field. And I think we see how valuable like these AI models are. Like we're literally in like an AI revolution right now. You are living through another type of revolution. Like you know how there's like the industrial revolution back like 100 years ago? We're in the AI revolution, whether you agree to it or not. And so I would recommend that you guys actually understand what's going on in this revolution and be caught up to speed with using these tooling, coding with AI, all this other stuff. What is that? Is that Laravel Cloud? No, that's Railway. See if it fixed my issue. I'll fix the starter kit. I'll leave the tabs open so like when I come back, I'll see that it's broken. But I want to actually, if I click mark as red, there we go, it automatically goes away. And then I guess if I wanted to like do some auto manual coding, like I could just do that. Here we go. I just wanted to center that on the page. What's up, Igor? How's it going? The shift might be towards teaching people how to properly implement auth security and properly deploy scale projects. People would build and launch ambitious things and get screwed when they scale. Well, the shift is going to be higher level thinking and problem solving, right? That's what AI's help. Like in order to be able to use AI, you have to be able to think in higher levels. Like you're not now thinking about, okay, write me a for loop. You're now saying like display a list of these things. And like being able to break down a complex problem into smaller sub problems and then defining those sub problems with like outlined steps of how you might solve it can be very useful, but also AI can do that too, right? I think the trick will be like, can you do a better job at breaking down problems and explaining them? And then sometimes you have to dive into the code. And again, I'm only speaking for web development. This may not apply for game development. This might not apply. Whoa, another super chat? 2 super chats from the same person? Hey, I appreciate you, Tiago. Let's go. This is like my most super chat stream I've ever had. Thoughts on custom auth versus services for multi-platform apps? Yeah, I guess if you're building something serious and you just want to move fast, I would probably just use an auth service like Cognito, Clerk. I think there's some other ones out there, which I don't remember the names of. Like you can do, but like I would just make sure your requirements up front. Like, do you need MFA? Do you need like SMS verification tokens? How many features do you need with auth? And if it's a pretty exclusive list or exhaustive list of things you need, like I would probably just pick with an auth service first. And then look at your pricing. Like most of these services like Clerk only charge like 2 cents a user or something. Some of the features cost a lot more though. But if your app is making real money, and like you have an idea and is making a lot of money, I don't think using an auth service and then using a database service, let's say it's even 10% of your revenue gets sent over to that, you're still making 90% profit, you know? So you have to kind of like balance that out. Look at their pricing scheme. How many users do you think you're going to get? Yeah. I don't know if I answer your question. Like for example, a multi-platform app, like I would probably just use Convex or something where like I can connect to my Convex API automatically, like from different mobile or web. Just use providers that take care of security and all that. Yeah. Did I answer your question? That was a big 20-pound super chat. So hopefully I answer your question. But and then we got CA with a $5 super chat. Thank you for addressing me, longtime follower. Did I address you? What did you say? Oh yeah, I did kind of. Maybe I did. But yeah, let me address your other comment. Claude 4 Sonnet is markedly better at full features with attention to detail, documentation testing with cursor, It now thinks of things I even wouldn't. Will we forget how to hand code syntax? I can't speak. I think I'm getting kind of burned out. Yeah, I haven't tried Claude 4 yet, honestly. I'll probably make a video on it if I get some time to play around with it. But what is going on? Like, now my chat just completely froze. Maybe I got my mom making weekly meal plans with the grocery list of chat. I'm going to close out of Twitch. I think Twitch is dead. Maybe I have too many things open. Let me like close out of some stuff. I mean, if you guys imagine, like, I've been streaming for almost like 2 hours now. How much of this stream have I actually been like seriously coding? Maybe 30 minutes, right? And maybe even less than that. But if I actually had a serious 8-hour workday of me just like vibe coding all day on this application, how much do you think I'd be able to add into this application in a day worth of vibe coding? Probably quite a lot. Granted, most of the times I work in this application is after work, and I maybe just invest like a couple features every day. But do you code on your own anymore, or kind of just AI and debug? There are times I code. Like, sometimes the AI cannot get stuff right. I find that if you're already very knowledgeable with the coding and the libraries and the frameworks, you can quickly fix AI when it starts going down this wrong path, right? So for example, I think I told AI to generate a script that needs to connect to S3 and store and retrieve some items from an S3 bucket, okay? And as it was generating the code, I saw that it brought in the AWS v2, which is deprecated. So right then I just stopped I stopped the prompt and I reprompted and said, hey, I need you to use v3 of the SDK. And then it rewrote the code and it brought it in, and then the script worked. Like the first try I ran the script, it worked. So it's that type of stuff. Like, the more knowledgeable you are over the domain you're trying to have AI help you with, the faster you can fix it and correct it and make it do the right things. And then also you start learning, what does it suck at? Like, what is AI going to get wrong? And then on a future prompt, you can just write that little sentence, remember to use v3 of AWS SDK. Or you can go and make a cursor rules and say, when it comes to my dependencies, check the internet and try to find the latest up-to-date versions of stuff. That would be my advice on it. They're already capable to replace all white-collar jobs, even without improving the models. Just need some time to brew up and build some more tools. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, yeah. There's so many jobs that this can replace. I think the main issue is that, like, until the consistency and the accuracy of these models improves, like, you can't really rely on it all the way. Like, you can use it for like idea generation. Like, for example, imagine using AI to try to diagnose diseases. I would not trust the output of the model. I would use it to help me think about all the different scenarios that might happen. But like, you can't just blindly replace, you know, the job of a doctor who hopefully has had 20, 30 years of like experience learning about diseases and how you can treat them and the symptoms of them. But I do feel at some point these models will be so good that they will diagnose like every disease first try, no issue. And that's when I think it'll actually start replacing some people. Like, people would actually probably choose AI over a human if AI was 95% accurate at diagnosing people. Because not even doctors are accurate at diagnosing stuff, right? There's so many times that doctors just don't listen to you. You give them your symptoms, they say it's anxiety. Turns out it's code. I use Cursor. What are your thoughts about AI revolution? Do you have any ideas on how it'll work? It's scary because we'll need to adapt. I mean, you have to adapt your whole life, right? The industries always change. I think it's a matter of just constantly looking about where the jobs are. If you want to be employed, you have to figure out what are people hiring for, what is not as valuable as it was, 5 years ago. But I do think if like we get to the point where AI replaces everything, that's a whole nother like fundamental issue in society we have to solve. Like, is that universal income? Because like, what do we do as humans? Like, what are we working on? How do we get paid? Is it a matter of just everyone just like their own food at that point? Like there's things that AI can't replace, right? Like you can't have AI replace food. You can't have AI replace drinkable water. You can't have AI build you a house. So there's still like these physical things we live in the world where, you know, yeah, I don't, my stream just keeps disconnecting. It's so weird. Even this is like lagging. When I try to scroll, this whole thing is lagging. Hold on, let me check my monitor. Maybe there's like something literally like eating up my CPU. OBS is 55%. Creative Cloud UI Helper. What is Creative Cloud UI Helper? Creative Cloud UI Helper. Slack is taking up a decent amount. Replayed? What is that? You know, I probably have some type of like malware on my computer, let's be honest. I should take a screenshot of this and say, hey, are any of these things like potentially malware? Hey, thanks for the super chat. We have a MSCJ Dev. Thanks for the tip. I am from Twitch. Cashier key. Oh, thank you. Hey, what's up, Steven? I think the system design is still a very valuable skill in the AI landscape. Yeah. Knowing system design, knowing DevOps, knowing security. I mean, the first thing I think AI is going to replace is like the building out websites, like building out a UI. That's obviously I've seen Cursor one-shot UIs, right? You give it an image of something and it just cranks out the whole UI for you. So being a front-end dev, that's probably the first thing that's going to replace. Even a back-end dev, like people like to think back-end is like this prestigious thing. Honestly, like how hard is it to make a REST API with authentication and connect to a database? Like AI can do that no problem. It's understanding how you can deploy this stuff to a Lambda and have that set up with authentication and then have that scale up and talk to a DynamoDB instance and configure your RDS instance to properly scale up. Like that stuff that I don't know if I trust like a MCP agent to do that on my AWS account for me. And then also there's like liability, like the company needs to find someone liable. If you just have AI generating, creating really uncreative, good for us when it comes to coding, game logic, and getting off the crud stuff. I mean, I used Cursor for building out that zombie game. If you guys noticed at the beginning of the year, I did that for a 2D top-down multiplayer zombie game. It helped me out a long way. I got a lot of stuff created in that. I just use Google Sign-In for most of my apps, like Google Sign-In or GitHub Sign-In. I don't even use username password authentication anymore. What's your thoughts on the job market recently for junior devs? Is it going to get better? Yeah, I don't know. I think junior devs need to like embrace vibe coding, and then as they're vibe coding, they need to read through the code and understand it. Because I mentioned this at the beginning, like a little while ago. It's like I could hire a junior dev to try to work on my side projects, but if they take a week to implement a feature that I can vibe code in 5 seconds or like 5 minutes, I would rather not even hire the person because that's even more overhead on me having to communicate with them, talk to them, guide them how to implement the feature. And I would much rather hire a junior who knows how to use Cursor, knows how to use Claude, knows how to use AI to help get the feature implemented. And then I can go and review that code manually to make sure that it's good and correct the junior, say, hey, next time make sure that you prompt better in regards to security or something. But getting features shipped, like it's hard to justify hiring someone who's not able to ship value, you know? Most juniors, when they get hired to a company, they actually bring the whole team, like they slow a team down because we have to like bring up the speed. You don't understand the code, so a simple feature or bug fix takes you like days to even get done. Half the time you don't know what you're doing, so you have to go and ask people for guidance. But at the same time, like, who's going to manage these systems in 10 or 20 years? Like, we need people to learn how to code and understand coding. But I think just something needs to change a little bit, whether it's in the hiring process or the mindset shift, where, like, if you're a junior, you don't really know how to code, but you can vibe code stuff, I would probably hire you. Personally, I would. AI lawyers are already being used. I wonder how that's going. For sure. I mean, like, there's so much text you have to read to be a lawyer, and like an AI with a vector database can find any previous court case from like 100 years ago and quickly parse through it. My company has 600 employees. IT team is only 30 people only. We already are able to replace several analytic departments. Gemini is able to do reports in 15 minutes better than a team of 5 working 3 months. Yeah, like, I 100% probably agree with this. Like, it's just a reality we live in where I would ask, why do you have 600 employees though? Like, where are all the other people? Like, what are they doing for their job? Perhaps in the world of AI built software, there's a handcrafted software niche, kind of like you see with physical goods. Just wait, it'll become a selling point of companies. Our software is built by humans. I don't know. I don't think so. There's one thing that I have seen is people just want results. People don't care if it's handcrafted by humans or not. They just want the app to do what they need it to do. That's it. They don't care how it got to that point, whether that's offshoring and paying a person $1 a day to write the software, or it's using AI to write the software. That's just the sad reality we live in. There might be a couple people who try to start like a bandwagon of like crafted by humans, but in reality, people just want stuff that works and they want it built as fast as possible. Like, that's just how it is, unfortunately. What is the writing platform URL? I don't want to share that. It's not deployed. Well, it's deployed out. I just don't want to share it right now. Honestly, the harder parts would be designing the database and running good queries. Additionally, I think AI is just going to remove saturation because people who don't know about soft dev can't compete. Hey, thank you, Omar. What's the thought on AI for legacy code and systems? Yeah, I think you can use AI for legacy code systems as well. Especially the chat feature. Like when you have an AI that can index your whole code base, and then you can ask questions over like, how is authentication set up in this code base? And then it kind of tells you like, here are the 7 files you should look through, and it's using RBAC or it's using JWT or it's using cookies, and it can kind of tell you how it works. Super useful. I haven't used it on a very, very huge code base before, so I'm not sure how like the agent mode would work with modifying code. If we break down the cycle of passing down knowledge, we are screwed as a species. Yeah, I mean, I think that's true for like, kind of like with NASA. I feel like at some point I read an article or someone mentioned that like we forgot how to build rockets at some point because like all that knowledge was at NASA, and like people forget how to do stuff. You have to pass down the knowledge or like the craft is just lost. Like you see those giant cathedrals that are built in like Europe. Like, do you think you could hire someone to build that today? Probably not. Like, people don't know how to build that. Do you think AI will be able to understand complex mess? Oh, for a legacy system. I think so. As long as the code's not a spaghetti, you know? Learn COBOL. All major Europe banks need anybody younger than 85 years to maintain larger systems. Hey, Cody, just want to say I love your videos. Appreciate it. Fire AI. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to end my stream. Like, it keeps disconnecting, and I've been going for 2 hours. So hopefully you guys had fun watching this stream. Added some features. It was pretty good. Your message was retracted. But yeah,